hot takes, great debates, highlights, basketball. What up, what up, what up, what up? It's yours truly, Mr. Taliaferro. How's everybody doing out there? Anybody subscribe to the platform? I'm super appreciative of the love. I'm trying to give you guys daily basketball content. And I want to say this before we get into this little segment that I've created here. Yo, it's a debate platform. I don't have a co-host. Obviously, it's just me on camera as of right now. That might change in the future. Be on the lookout. Yo, it's content. This is my perspective, my opinion. It's my knowledge of the game, and I'm giving my perspective. You don't have to unsubscribe when you don't agree with something. Debate back. Debate back in the comment section. I promise I watch the comments. Sometimes I respond to some of the people. It's a basketball conversation. You don't have to agree with me on everything. If you don't agree, look, I would love to have you. If you have to unsubscribe, if it's that crazy and outrageous to you, fine. If I feel like if my knowledge is off, then unsubscribe. I understand that completely. I would unsubscribe, right? But if you're just mad at that I have a different opinion from you, just debate it back. That's all. Like, that's what this is for. I put the new intro in there for a reason. We having conversations about basketball. It's good debates. That's all it is. Anywho, I thought it would be fun, since we now know the NBA All-Star Game starters for the East and West. We're going to separate this one up into two videos. Let's focus on the West in this video because I really broke this down. I did a lot of strategical planning for this video. As we now know the All-Star Game starters for the Western Conference, I thought it would be cool and fun for me to now tell you guys, as my voice acting up a little bit, I wanted to tell you guys the 7 reserve picks for the 2020 All-Star Game on the Western Conference side. Obviously, we know LeBron and Giannis are the captains. They're going to mix it all up and vote for their guys on their respective teams. But let's pick the guys who are going to get in, because this is a real tough one. So the way I look at it, for the starters, I think we all knew the 5 guys that got in for the West. We got Luka, Harden in the backcourt. Then we got Bron, Kawhi, and Anthony Davis in the starting lineup for the Western Conference. I think that was a given, right? The Eastern Conference had a little more debate. Kemba, Kyrie, Trae Young over there in that backcourt. Jimmy Butler, you know what I mean? There was a little bit more debate on that Eastern Conference side. So I think it's flip-flop for the reserves. I think the Eastern Conference reserves is pretty clear, but the Western Conference reserves, I mean, it is very difficult because you got a lot of under 500 teams. You got guys putting up crazy stats on these very bad teams. So here's what I want to do. I want to go through and pick the 7 guys that I have as reserves for the Western Conference. Please be on the lookout for the Eastern Conference edition of this game as well, this segment as well. So here's who I got. Here's my no-brainer. Donovan Mitchell is a no-brainer. The Utah Jazz, as I make this video, they are number 2 in the Western Conference. They've gotten hot. What, they won like 11 out of 12, 11 out of 13 or something like that. They're 31-13. Donovan Mitchell, obviously the lead guard. I'm surprised he didn't get any All-Star starter votes just because he's pretty much always available for his team. Utah's really flipped their season around. Mike Conley's been out of the lineup for most of this success that the Jazz have had. So I think no-brainer, Donovan Mitchell's a starter or an all-star for the Western Conference. And I'm going to stay with that Utah Jazz team. I'm going to give them a second guy. Rudy Gobert is averaging 14 points and 15 rebounds for the Jazz. Now, he's gotten snubbed in the past. I'm going to give the big fella some credit. Go look at the highlights. And this is crazy that I bring stuff up like this, right? Usually, if you go look at a big-time dunk, a lot of times Rudy Gobert is the guy getting dunked on. Well, that's because Rudy Gobert tries every night. No matter who's playing, Rudy Gobert is going to go up and give that shot a contest. That's why he's so good a shot blocker, because I think the biggest thing is he's not afraid to go up and challenge a shot. I actually want to pull up his stats here with my computer. Rudy Gobert's, yeah, he's averaging, and this is consistent for him, about 2 blocks a game. That's Rudy Gobert. Like, I'm going to give him some love. So I got Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. The third guy to me, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. They've pretty much been number 2 for most of the season in the West. They fell to number 3 right behind Utah as I make this video. He's a no-brainer to me. The Nuggets got to have somebody in the game. Jamal Murray going down with that injury makes it clear as day that their guy has to be Jokic, and the future is going to be Michael Porter Jr. But for right now, we got the Joker in there as a for sure reserve for the All-Star game. Now, okay, I got one more for sure, and this one is something that I've debated over and over again. I'm going to go Chris Paul. it was a tough one. I know the Oklahoma City Thunder deserve a guy. I don't believe they deserve two guys. Obviously, it came down to Chris Paul or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I knew the Thunder deserved a guy. They exceeded all expectations this year. They have been fun to watch. One of the most competitive teams we got in the league. Well, they're like 6th in the Western Conference as of right now. But they're 7 right now as I make this video, right behind Houston. But they've been consistently around 6 or 7 all year. They've not fallen under 500. So I want to give that ball club a lot of credit. I went back and forth. Do I want to give that spot to Chris Paul or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? I'm going to give it to CP3. His PER is a tad bit higher than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't believe SGA is the player that he's become if not for the leadership and the tutelage of Chris Paul. Give the old head one more game. SGA will make this game at some point in his career a few times. I think Chris Paul has deserved it. SGA is averaging about 2 more points a game over Chris Paul, but they both played in every game this season available for the team. They've both been consistent. Chris Paul's averaging around 6 assists, I believe, more than, SGA is around 2 or 3. I think Chris Paul has earned that spot. I'm going to give it to CP3 over SGA this year. Probably next year, that'll be SGA's spot to lose. But one more time for the old head. So now, after we get past that, it is a bunch of turmoil for these last 3 spots. Let's break this down into 3 categories, actually. All right? Let's do 2 categories. Let's just do 2 categories. It's confusing as hell. Now we got 5 to 7 guys that are on bad teams, under 500 ball clubs, but they put up buckets every night pretty much. So let's run through some of these guys. DeMar DeRozan is giving you 22 a night. Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies is giving you 17 a night, but he's giving you 7 assists as well as a rookie. Damian Lillard is giving you 28 a night. Portland's awful. He's doing it without CJ McCollum. He's went 60 and 61 this year for the Trailblazers. Devin Booker, he's dropped 30 in his last 6 games. He's been a phenomenal scorer, but he's playing with a lot of talent. Obviously, the #1 pick from a year ago in DeAndre Ayton, who missed 25 games with that suspension, but he's back now, and the Suns are still struggling. Kelly Oubre is a walk-in bucket, but the Suns are still awful. Karl-Anthony Towns, he's missed about 18 and 19 games this season. He's averaging 26 and 12 essentially, though, when he plays for that very awful T-Wolves team that right now they're 15 and 29. Essentially, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They're almost, they're about 10 games back. Yeah, 5.5, 6 games back of the Spurs, and they're 10 games back of the OKC Thunder right now. So their hopes are fading away to make the postseason as of right now. So those are a list of guys who are in that category of, I kind of want to let them in, but they play on bad teams. Actually, let's do it in 3 categories. So here's my second category. I got Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell. They're both pretty much averaging 20 points a game for the Clippers. I want to put more respect on their name than in years past. In years past, I would have said, no, they're not starters. But I do want to throw in this caveat. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have missed so much time with injuries, various injuries. You pretty much have not gotten them both healthy for more than, 7, 8 games this year? Because they missed so much time with Paul George with 2 big injuries and with Kawhi low managing throughout the season. To be fair to Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, they've had a lot of accountability. And in years past, Lou Williams has been in this conversation. I usually say no because he's not a starter. Like, he's only started in like 4 or 5 games. How can you be an all-star when you don't start for your own team? Like, you can't be an all-star if you don't start. Like, those words go hand in hand, right? But to be fair to Lou and Montrez, they have a big score burden on that Clippers team because Kawhi and PG just don't want to play basketball every night anymore, right? But I'm gonna be fair to them and say, yo, they deserve to be in the conversation. I'm gonna leave them there. Let's go to that third category of guys that in years past they've been in the game, but for various reasons I'm kind of on the fence. Russell Westbrook has been a triple-double machine over the last few years. But this year, obviously playing with Harden, his numbers are down. So I'm looking at a guy go backwards. But when you look at Russell Westbrook, you can't tell me there are 11 guys in the Western Conference more exciting than Russell Westbrook play the game of basketball night in and night out. Right? He's still super exciting. His numbers are not bad. It's like 25, 7, and 8 or something like that. He's still phenomenal. But him and this other guy, Paul George, he's missed 18 games. He's giving you 22 points a game. He's great when he's on the court, but the thing is, getting him to the court. So here's my thing with Russ and PG this year. Their teams should be higher in the standings. The Clippers should be #1, right? And the Houston should be higher than 6, because they both play with guys who are top 5 in the game, and James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. So I'm kind of knocking both of those guys this time around because they got a crap ton of help. I'm just saying, James Harden's averaging 38. Russell Westbrook, if he's that guy, this Rockets team should be top 3, top 4. How you got Luka Doncic getting it done better than you? Denver Nuggets over you guys. Y'all got y'all 2 Hall of Famers in Houston. And Paul George, like, what's up? Like, you play with Kawhi Leonard, a Clippers team that made the playoffs without y'all guys last year. All I'm saying is they should be leading these teams to top 3 spots in the West. The Clippers barely hanging on a half game over the Nuggets right now. So I'm looking around like, I think I'm going to leave all 3 of those. Oh, this is tough, man. I'm actually going back and forth with it right now. So here are my last 3 spots. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go DeMar DeRozan gets in. I'm going to go Damian Lillard gets in. And now we're down to Ja Morant, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, Russell Westbrook, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, and Paul George for that last spot. This is a tough one. Man, this is a tough one. I'm going to say Ja Morant next year. And here's my reason why. Sorry, Memphis fans. Ja Morant has his entire career. I don't think he's better than Luka Doncic or Trae Young from last year. I know the Grizzlies are right around that 8th spot in the West. But if Luka didn't make it first year, I don't think Ja should. He's not better than what Luka was last year. So take Ja out of it. We got a couple Kentucky guys, Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns. They play on bad teams, man. I'm sorry. I can't get either one of those guys in. I'm sorry. I'm not letting either one of those guys into the game. Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell. Y'all got to start, man. I'm sorry. I can't let y'all in. Paul George. Nah, B. I'm going to give the last spot to Russell Westbrook. Those are my 7 guys. Donovan Mitchell, Nikola Jokic, Rudy Gobert, Chris Paul, DeMar DeRozan at 22.5 a game. I'm going to give Dame a spot. He's averaging 28. And I'm going to give my last spot to Russell Westbrook. Remember, the coaches do this vote. All right, so it's on the coaches this time around. I'm trying to get into the coaches' head and see where they're at with it. Those are my 7. You let me know in the comment box below who are your 7 guys that's going to make the Western Conference reserves. That was tough, man. But I feel like I made good picks. I think my picks are going to hold up well. Let me know your picks in the comment box below. I'm out. You into sports, we got you. NFL news, I got you. NBA news, NBA highlights, NBA full coverage, feature stories, all that great stuff, I got you. We even got a little bit of Madden and 2K mixed in. Subscribe to this platform, and I got you. More quality content on the way. Subscribe.